Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., all rights reserved.
You're listening to a man whose work is never done.
In a job like yours, even when it's finished, there's always one more thing to do.
And his job is to make your job easier.
It's a very difficult job, and the only way to get through it is we all work together as a team. And that means you do everything I say.
He's Jim Blasingame, the Small Business Advocate.
Welcome back to after the hour. Thank you for being part of my day. My pleasure as always, especially when I got a chance to reintroduce you to our good friend Joe Cleary. Joe has been a member of our Brain Trust for, about 7 years. He's always associated with my trip down here to Woodlands, Texas, to broadcast from the Insperity Championship, a PGA Champions Tour golf tournament that celebrates small business. And Joe certainly represents one of those small businesses, Harvey Builders. He's the executive vice president of Harvey Builders. And Joe's been with me, I guess, every year. We've talked to him about the commercial real estate industry. In the previous interview, we talked about residential real estate and how that's going around the country. And so we're going to get Joe to give us a report on that. Joe Cleary, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Glad to be here. Beautiful
Always a
weather
pleasure.
in
It was great seeing you guys, you and your wife last night, and looking forward to the rest of the week. Joe, talk to us about how you see the commercial real estate industry. How's it doing across the country?
Well, across the country, Jim, it's not doing very well. I just had a conversation with a counterpart, a peer from another company in the Pacific Northwest, and he said that it's slow. The contractors are very aggressive with their fees. It's very difficult to make money. And there's nothing spurning the economy up there. And we've got an office in Washington, D.C., and, of course, the government is spending money. But in that operation, it is extremely competitive. Every major contractor in the country and some international contractors are in the Washington, D.C. area. And so although there's work, it's very, very, very competitive.
This really sounds like the same song, different verse that you were singing about the National over the last 2 or 3 years.
It truly has not gotten much better, Jim. We have to create jobs. I mean, that's what spurns the commercial construction industry is employment. And
right.
Until we begin manufacturing things in the United States again on a grand basis, we're going to have difficulty putting everyone to work in the service sector. We have to have
and also, Joe, commercial space was like housing. We had some excess inventory as of 2008, too, didn't we?
Yeah, our clients, the real estate developers, we build. We do not develop. We simply build. And but those developers are of course, in Houston, Texas, they're very busy. In Washington, D.C., they're very busy in pockets, just outside, in the district, outside the district, and along the Dulles Access Road, where a new metro line called the Silver Line is going in from Tyson's Corner out to Dulles Airport. Very busy there for the developers. So there is work. But for the contractors, there's so many contractors there. Like I said, it's very, very competitive. And I want to talk about.
Have you lost a lot of? Has this industry lost a lot of good companies in the last 3 years because of this?
Yes, and there's been some consolidation. The big contractors, big national contractors, have been entering markets by buying smaller contractors. So there's been some consolidation, and that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. But we have lost some good folks, and for people my age, it became in other areas, and I'm 57. In other areas of the country, it became easier for them to retire than to,
Right.
constantly beat their head against the wall, trying to make money in the construction business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important that's one of the toughest things, Joe, for any small business owner. One of the toughest decisions they'll ever make is when is it time to hang it up? As an old mentor of mine used to say, sometimes you got a fighting chance, and sometimes you just have a chance to fight.
I like that.
And you have to, and that's the decision every small business owner has to make at some time, don't they?
They do, and there's only so much cost cutting you can do, and there's only so many consecutive years in a row that you can not make money.
Right.
And
we're gonna take a quick break, Joe. Hang on to that thought. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna get Joe to talk to us a little bit about the Texas market, especially the Houston area. Things are going pretty good down here, and what can we learn from that? After these messages, 20 till. I'm Jim Blasingame. Joe Cleary is our guest. He's with Harvey Builders, by the way.
Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., intended for the private use of our audience. Except as otherwise provided by copyright law, all other copying, redistribution, or publication without prior written consent is prohibited. All rights reserved.